What's going on, everybody? Happy Hump Day. Hope everybody's week's going well. Um, I'm probably gonna make two more videos on Collins, and then my final one is gonna be what I think is the most important one of the series. That my final video is gonna be about my regrets and my remorse for all the bad decisions I made. So, all right. Last time we left off, I was talking about that BW kid, that ape, freaking who I freaking he pulled a pick on me in the bathroom, and then he fucking a little ass puny one. Sorry about that. He had a little ass fucking puny one. He thought he was all hot shit, and then freaking I pulled my fucking my AK, what I would say, fucking on him, and then we almost freaking got into a shooting match, and fucking one of the main homies came in the bathroom and fucking squashed it. Thank God. So whenever the SEALs would come, tear our dorm up and shit, or bring the dogs up, nine times out of 10, they took BW down because they knew what he was doing, they knew who he was, and so that the one time, freaking, this was the one time in prison that I was truly scared. Freaking, what happened was this freaking somebody fucking dropped a slip or something on him. I think somebody anonymous in the dorm who even wasn't fucking with it because they were fucking sick of it. People do that. And so my name got brought up as a possible suspect. Freaking, because somebody, whoever they wrote, freaking said, he's pulling weapons on people, he's robbing people, and shit like that. And, yeah. So, anyway, freaking, my name got brought up as a suspect. And, freaking, I remember my buddy Mark called me over. And he's like, I love you, right? I'm like, yeah. Freaking, he's like, did you freaking go to ARC and freaking tell on BW? I'm like, no. Well, that's the word that's going around. Freaking you, fucking Dibs, and fucking somebody else are all fucking suspect. Like, how the fuck did I get dragged into this? That's what I was fucking thinking. How the fuck did I get dragged into this? So, freaking him, BW, and I ended up freaking talking it out. And what I told them is, freaking, look, whatever fucking happened between you in the bathroom that night, I don't give a shit. It's done. It's over. But I want you to think about something. If I really dropped a slip and went to ORC or whatever, don't you think that I would have fucking gotten out of the dorm? Fuck that. I mean, I don't believe in fucking in snitching. I don't support it. Freaking, I've been ratted on before, and got me in trouble. And then one time I almost walked into a sting. Thank God I freaking thought something was off, and I didn't freaking serve this dude. Fucking, alright, so the reason why freaking BW had problems is because I don't know how I got dragged into this either, But freaking, I was a suspect of being a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. Turn this TV off. Sorry. There we go. I like the lighting. Freaking, they were, because every night, when we went out to the yard for rec at night rec, me and my buddy Donnie would fucking walk the laps in the track, and freaking, I mean, Donnie could definitely be mistaken for like a white supremacist gang, skinhead, or whatever. Fucking, because he had a couple tattoos that, that definitely, have that white supremacist and shit do. But he's a member of the Hells Angels. And the tattoos I'm talking about, he's got one. It's the bottom of a boot. Like, you're stomping on somebody, and then you got in red ink the SS. For those of you who didn't learn anything in history class, SS means Stutzenstaffel. Those were the officers who ran, or the Nazi officers who ran the concentration camps during World War II. And freaking, a lot of gangs like that, freaking, you earn those tattoos, and freaking, you can either get it in black ink, but some people can get it in red ink. And if you have a red SS tattoo, you did something pretty fucking crazy. That I told him that's one question I would never ask him. So, since I was walking the yard with him all night, freaking, I was expected to be a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. Like people were asking me about it, and then freaking, I was laying down one day, freaking reading a comic book or a magazine or something, and then BW freaking stands right in front of my cube. And he's like, "What's up, Aryan? What's up, Aryan?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" At first I thought, like, is this a joke? But it wasn't. I'm like, "What the fuck you talking about?" He's like, "I see who you freaking walk the yard with every night. Freaking blah, 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 blah." I'm like, I showed him all my tattoos. Like, do I have any fucking signs on me? No. So, get the fuck out of my cube. Fucking quit fucking saying that I'm a freaking member of the Aryan Brotherhood, and leave me the fuck alone. Well, BW should have been taken out of the dorm long before he went to the box. But yeah, I think it was the night before New Year's Eve. The day before New Year's Eve, he freaking went in the box. The whole atmosphere in the dorm changed after that. People were a lot less, there was a lot less freaking negativity. Let's just say that. So, I think I'm gonna talk about some of my friends. Well, Donnie, obviously, is an angel. Freaking, he was like my prison dad. And then I've told you about my buddy Mark. And then my boy Nicky. He's from like the southern tier of New York, somewhere, and lives totally off grid and whatnot. He was on his third bid. He'd fucking had like 14 years in. he in his first two bids he did up to close to 14 years. I think he was in prison for like driving without a license, and I couldn't believe you. Like, you send to prison for driving without a license? Yeah, you can. Freaking. Then my buddy Russell, freaking, he was the same thing. Freaking telling me all these fucking crazy like stories about cooking meth. Freaking. I think this dude was full of shit. Cause he was telling me freaking he's got he's got two race cars and freaking all this freaking shit. And I tried looking him up on the internet, and freaking I couldn't find anything about about him racing anywhere. So yeah, it was like, why would you freaking make that shit up? But back to Nikki. Nikki freaking was one of my best friends in there. Freaking he, knew I was a first timer, so he kind of freaking told me some advice and stuff like that. I ended up getting a Scrabble game while I was there, and Nikki and I would play Scrabble freaking once or twice a day. And we tweaked the rules a little bit. Like, you could use slang, freaking abbreviations, freaking shit that doesn't make really much sense. But yeah, we well, no, it did make sense, but we could use like slang and stuff like that for Scrabble. Prison Scrabble. That's the best way to describe it. And then my other friend, who I'm gonna call him by his first name, but he went by his last name. His name is Todd. Todd was a former Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps, and he'd been overseas in the wars and shit like that. He had a lot of freaking PTSD and stuff like that. Freaking bombs went off next to him, and freaking getting shot at. Seeing his friends get killed. That shit'll freaking destroy a man. And Todd had a very serious drug problem. Like, he said, he lived on the streets for like a year. Freaking, he shot freaking, he was shooting freaking heroin and freaking coke or crack freaking all the time. And he was in for, this is on the second bid. Freaking, he both was there for burglary. And so but in prison, he had a really bad Suboxone addiction, and he was addicted to K2. Like, I'll talk more about K2 in a few minutes. Freaking, he freaking, like, I freaking helped, like, saved his ass. Freaking, he got his freaking commissary sheet and freaking had only freaking $4 on it, and freaking he owed somebody a couple bricks. And so he asked me if I could, help him out a little bit, and that time I had, a decent amount of money on my account. So, like, yeah, I'll do that for you. And he said, he would give me Deuce K2, which Deuce is another name for it. And so, I'd hook him up with Suboxone. I helped him out. Then he started to get weird, and towards me too. Like, him and Nikki thought because I stopped going to medication in the morning that I was different, and I was no. I mean, I'll admit, freaking, like, between Thanksgiving time and all through Christmas to Christmas, I basically had a mental breakdown. I did. I was freaking super depressed, freaking quick to get angry. It's, so he started getting weird towards me, freaking not hanging out with me or really talking to me as much. And then I didn't know at the time that he was running up tabs on people. At one point, he owed fucking over $1,500, and quite a bit of that was the BW, not somebody you want to freaking fuck with. And freaking, I was seeing freaking BW freaking, pressing on him and freaking ask all these questions. And he, Todd would freaking, make up, a story and whatnot. Said that he called his dad, freaking still waiting to hear back from him, and so he just made up all this stuff. And then when it was getting really bad, freaking I remember I was taking a piss in the bathroom, and then BW and another dude were in there, and then Todd fucking was in there, and he talked to BW, and then Todd walked out of the bathroom, and then fucking BW's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pop on this nigga." Excuse my language, but that's what he said. And so, even though he was acting like different and not really like nice to me, like I would still talk to him and not, just not as much. But what I did after BW freaking said that was I sat down right next to him in his cube, and I'm like, "Listen to me, freaking, I just fucking heard that freaking BW and freaking T Queef are gonna freaking jump you." And he's like, "Oh shit, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, freaking." And then I tried to give him a shank, but he said he was going out to the weight pit to go work out during rec, and then I would just give it to him then. Well, he came back from rec. I tried to offer it to him, and he wouldn't take it. And so what he did was he worked in the mess hall with Nikki in the morning, and he went and signed in. What that means is you check into PC, even though there isn't really protective custody anymore, but they'll move you to a new prison. I remember he never came back from the mess hall, and we were all wondering what the hell was going on. I kind of had an idea, but I didn't know for sure. And then what I did was I fucking went to Suboxone that day, and freaking I saw Todd in the waiting room at medical, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" Like, he's like, "I'm going to the box." I'm like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then, freaking, a sergeant, a female sergeant, Miss Daniels, came and freaking told them to, to come. And right before he walked out of the waiting room, he said, after today, things are going to be better. And I knew exactly what that meant. So I get back from meds, and then I freaking told I think it was Tattoo. His name was his nickname was Tattoo. I told Tattoo about it. He's like, "Yo, did you tell BW and all them?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Dude, you should." I'm like, "I don't want to tell them anything. I don't even want to freaking associate with them." So, freaking right count, 11 o'clock count. After count, they yelled count again, and they said, 5 cube, 28, 18 cube, 42 cube, come out. And they took those three. It was BW, we're gonna call him T Queef, and my buddy Drum. I'll get back to Drum in a second. So yeah, freaking, he ratted it. He told on them, and freaking, he went to another facility. Like, running up tabs is the dumbest thing you can do. Like, somebody was freaking telling, like, no, I'm not gonna freaking talk about that. Yeah, freaking, and if you, have a debt, freaking, your number follows you wherever you go, and freaking, there's homies in every prison in New York, freaking, so you're not safe. Even if you do that, you're not safe. Word can freaking get there, and you're fucked. I never got anything unless I knew 100% that I could pay for it. That was a rule with me. I did not want to freaking have debts. I was afraid to even freaking take a cigarette when I first ended in Elmira, because I thought I might owe somebody for it, and I didn't know when my money was going to clear. That's where my mindset was. So, alright, we'll talk about Tattoo. Tattoo is, he's an Army vet, and he's a professional tattoo artist, and freaking, he was really one of the best I've ever seen. And he was definitely the best on the compound. And that's saying something, because freaking, there's two dudes, I think Red and Charlie over in E1. They were good too. But no, Tattoo was way better than them. And Tattoo had a Suboxone habit, and freaking, so I paid him really good. I paid him really good money, like, with that alone, and I got all this. Got 6 tattoos. Freaking, I paid him for a 4th to finish my sleeve. I paid him And then freaking what happened was this freaking like BW and the freaking other like young homies were freaking pressing him and telling him like, if you don't freaking do all our shit before anybody else's, freaking you're out of here. And that's what happened. And freaking I gave him probably $75 worth of Suboxone, and I didn't get a damn thing. I was pissed about that, real pissed. Freaking somebody said go to his shop and freaking get that shit. Freaking and freaking I can't even send him a message on Facebook because it said he, wasn't taking any friend requests or freaking messages. So he probably he didn't just owe me money. Freaking owe me Tattoo Inc. But my buddy Drum and BW's tattoos and the other one that they weren't finished. And freaking excuse me, got a sip of water here. Medicine dries my mouth out. Alright. Trying to think. Oh, freaking there was this kid, white, scrawny little white boy. Freaking his name, he called himself MGK, which stands for Machine Gun Kelly, because he likes Machine Gun Kelly. He named himself MGK, which I thought was a little strange, but he was fucking telling everybody that he was fucking like this second sergeant at arms for the Aryan Brotherhood. And he had me, fooled a little bit because he knew his shit. He knew freaking a lot about like gangs and stuff like that and stuff. He didn't have any Aryan tags on him, but when he was talking with the homies, he'd be like nigga, saying the N word, but not at them, but there's a difference between the word nigger and the word nigga. So, and don't use those words. I shouldn't have used them just now. No, I'm not racist. Frickin', I believe that word has no color. It's a personality. Doesn't matter what color you are. So, but back to MGK. Frickin', he freaking had a bad Suboxone habit too. Like, one time I gave him like 3 milligrams, and he gave me, I think, two stamps of K2. And what that a lot of the K2 is chemical sprayed on like paper and stuff like that, and people cut them in the size of stamps and sell them for anywhere. I've heard ranges from fucking $10 to $50. So he gave me 2 stamps of Deuce, and then later that day, freaking him and I were sitting on my cube, freaking shooting the shit, and then my boy Drom comes over. He's got a freaking like a whole thing like that wide or that long, rolled up of all of K2, and he brought it over and got us, and I thought he was just asking if we wanted to smoke. I had no idea what I just got myself into. Freaking, it was a contest, basically. Freaking, because if you smoke too much K2, you can freaking have an epi. Epi means short for episode. I've seen people freaking seize off this shit like it's bad. Like, I was always super careful with it, and it was me, MGK, and then my buddy Pito. Pito was like a 63-year-old Puerto Rican dude. Funny, he was a funny guy. He couldn't hear worth of shit, but Pito was great. So what it was is Drum said, "All right, you're gonna play Chicago. You hit it 3 times and you hold in the smoke until it freaking gets back to you." So I did the first round. I freaking held it in, and then I got the second. On the second one, I started to freaking feel it, and then I freaking blew the smoke out, and then they said I was out. Well, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Freaking, I was wondering like why the fuck like so many people gathered around to see us smoke this thing. I was like, that was strange to me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And when people have contests, freaking, they freaking like to watch, because freaking you want to watch somebody get eppies. So freaking so I blew the smoke out the second time, and he said I was out. Freaking Pito and MGK freaking passed it back to each other like 6 times, and then they passed it to me, and I said no, because I knew freaking I was getting really fucked up, like more fucked up than I wanted to be, and freaking I got this freaking like flashback of fucking like not a flashback, but like I pictured myself freaking having to do a lot of freaking time, and COs and shit beating me up, and I just was like, what the fuck? And then freaking I stood up, and I freaking was saying something to everybody who was watching, and they're like, "Oh man, you all right? You all right?" And then I started freaking hitting myself in the face. And then, Pito freaking passed out, and then what MGK did, he was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? What the fuck?" And he just wouldn't freaking, he wouldn't stop, and freaking, the CO in the dorm freaking called up a group of them just to get him out of there. And then I remember we were in his cube, and then once he took MGK, Nikki freaking got me out of there and brought me to my cube. Yeah, and then MGK was doing the what the fuck, bro, all the way to the door, and then the last thing he said was, "God damn," and fucking COs fucking threw him down the stairs. Yeah, freaking, the COs freaking hate that shit, because freaking people freaking seize on that shit and whatnot. But yeah, no, I had that epi, and now I understand what it is. Freaking, K2, you got it is not a good thing. You gotta everybody stay away from it. That's one thing I'll never touch again. Guaranteed. Alright. I'm gonna stop this one for now, and I'll be making another one shortly. Alright. Peace.